Give them a shot to do what?
Or did that again and stuck her finger in there, it'd be over. So on this episode, we are going to do NBA and NHL playoff talk. The Florida Panthers and the Oklahoma City Thunder, one game away from securing a title. In this case, the Panthers can be the first back-to-back champions since the Lightning did it a couple years ago.
Yep.
And then obviously the Thunder and or the Pacers would be the first team, and it looks like it's going to be the Thunder if all things go this way. But I have some interesting ideas about that. And then we'll go around the world of sports with some headlines, including Joey Chestnut returning to shoving glizzies down his throat, and Angel Reese trademarking a diss. Smart, dumb, I don't know. We'll talk about it. All that and more next.
Sports.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Stuff About Sports, presented by the Give Us a Shot Network, powered by Fast Break Coffee, and sponsored, as always, Bert, by the haters. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to the YouTube viewership, podcast listenership, social media ship, first timers, last timers. Please like, share, subscribe, drop a comment, say hi, join the conversation. If you don't do any one of those things, I am inclined to believe you are indeed a hater. Bert, what's up, man?
Look at us looking like a sexy ketchup and mustard right now.
I know, isn't that crazy? We did not plan it. We didn't plan the
No.
tandem hat backwards. Bert's always been doing it. I'm biting his style, but there's a reason for it. I went to go. This is my Sixers hat, and I had a mess up when I was like trying to organize my little studio here, and I bent the brim of this hat, and I cannot unbend it. There's a crease in it. I messed up. I messed up bad.
Yeah.
So the bad news is I ruined a Sixers hat. The good news is I get to buy a new Sixers hat.
That's the burn one for next season for sure.
It is the burn one, 100%. We'll see, and it depends. It's going to start with the draft. If they don't do something with this third pick, it'll be burned before tip off. Bert, I have a question before we get started. Me and my wife were watching Peacock. Shout out to Peacock, man. They have like not only do they have good shows, Long Bright River, something. It's about some girl in Philadelphia. She's a cop. It's great, but they have the live channel things, and you could just watch whatever. Like they have like a Dateline channel. So if you like to watch Dateline 24/7, you can just go watch it. They have me and my wife are big into the Dick Wolf Chicago shows. So they have like a Law and Order channel that only shows Law and Order, and a Chicago channel that only shows Chicago Fire, PD, whatever. Well, they do this with movies. They're all NBC Universal properties, and they have a John Wick channel. And so it just cycles through all the John Wick movies. We were watching them, and it got me thinking, man, Keanu Reeves underrated, like in terms of like his iconic status. Like he's Neo, John Wick, Ted from Bill and Ted. Much Ado About Nothing, Speed. Like he has all these classic iconic characters, man.
Yeah,
like
dude, he's gotten into some comedy too. Like he just, I mean, everybody says he's just like a nice guy.
Yeah, he's like a nice human being.
Mm-hmm.
What is it, Johnny Utah, right?
Yeah, Johnny Utah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so it's like you don't think about it, but he has probably he might be in the GOAT discussion in terms of character catalog, like of actors,
100%.
of actors' characters that they play. I'm not saying he's a GOAT actor. I'm saying his discography of characters is top 5, maybe. Like, I mean, it's unbelievable. Bram Stoker's Dracula, I mean, it's insane.
Dude,
catalog
John Wick alone, I mean, and we'll say in the later portion of his career, so to speak, like those movies, every time they're on, I watch them. I can't not. Yeah. It's everything you want in a movie.
Underrated movie by him though. Street Kings came out in like 2008. If you haven't seen it, he was a cop in that movie. That movie was super underrated. Who's Shane Falco? Replacements? Like he's had some super iconic
that baseball movie with the
kids
too.
The Bad News Bears, right? Like the remake of the
Something
Bad News
like that.
Bears. That was
that was Billy
right.
Bob Thornton. This was something else, man. This was
shoot, Hardball.
Hardball. That's what it is.
Like the black. It was like the it was like the black Bad News Bears, right? Like it was like you went to the hood and took these inner city youths and made a baseball
it's like
team, right?
Gridiron
G-Baby
Gang only with
shot.
baseball, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, with baseball, yeah. And then of course there's another one. There was another Keanu movie that I'm thinking of. Devil's Advocate. Like one of my favorite Keanu roles was, Devil's Advocate.
Constantine too. Damn,
he said when you both John Constantine. Yeah, like think about it, man. He might be in the GOAT of characters. When you both have your hat backwards like that, I'm start thinking all these conspiracy theories are right. You're either Russian spies or FBI goons. You can't fool me. Shout out.
Kind of look like narcs right now. We do. We're like, what's up?
Goes to GRLS. I was doing some gooning a couple hours ago, so maybe you have something on there. He says Shane Falco. He was a scout. The Replacements was one of those movies that, like, when it came out and I was younger and I watched, I thought it was okay. And then when it goes through a couple rewatches, especially as you get older, you're like, man, this movie was great. It was a great movie. Shout out to Gene Hackman, rest in peace. But all right, Bert, let's get started. Let's do Oilers and Panthers first. Takeaways. Tell me, are the Panthers? I was going to pose the question as who is under more pressure to win? I know that sounds silly because the Panthers only need to win one game, but I feel like I don't think they need to feel the pressure because they only need to win the one game. I think they need to feel the pressure because I don't think either team really has an advantage over the other in terms of, like, they've been going back and forth this whole time. And I think if they allow the Oilers to get game 6 or get, game 5, and push it, like,
This is 6.
This will be 6. Yeah.
This is 6 right now. Panthers currently up 1-0. I think the pressure is and always has been completely on the Oilers. And, I just think, and you would think from going through this process last year, they'd be used to the longevity of what the playoffs look like. And more importantly, from facing a very similar Panthers team as last year, you would think they know what they're up against, at least from their defensive core and what they're getting out of Sergei Bobrovsky, which, as I've mentioned, the last 2 series, it really comes down to his play, and he's absolutely dominated. The Oilers had a great game 1. Game 2 lost in overtime. Great game, though. And then shell of themselves in 3 and 4. Now, the takeaway for game 4 is the fact that they were able to get out of there with an overtime win off of, I don't want to say a garbage goal, but, a goal that was a deflection off of a defender that ended up in the back of the net. Now, it's all about leading up to those opportunities and those chances. If you don't get pucks in front of the net, they don't go in regardless. So I'm not going to knock them for how it went in. It wasn't an easy win. None of them have been for the Oilers. Really, when you look at it, and the further you're getting into this series, it looks like the further they're fatigued. They've given up. I think I was just texting with my brothers and we were talking about how many first period goals they've given up. And I think it's up to 12 and 13 now. And when you look at it, I mean, they're really losing momentum in the first period in each one of these games. So not only is the pressure there for them to win, it's always been on them. Florida, they can relax a little bit. Why? Because they can just point to last year. But in all honesty, they've been playing fantastic hockey. They've been generating chances. Their offense has run deep like we knew it was going to be. And Sergei Bobrovsky has just been an absolute wall in the net. And I think it was incredibly disappointing for me when you looked at game 5 in Edmonton. You would figure tying up the series and going back home, whoever was going to win game 5 is certainly going to win this series. Even if the Oilers pull out one tonight and go back home, I still think the Panthers are going to win in 7 because that's just the team they've been throughout these playoffs. So, I honestly, I expect it to be wrapped up tonight. They're already losing 1-0 in the first. A lot of hockey left. Don't come after me. But it's with the Oilers' track record, they just haven't had really the control that I think that we were looking for. It looks like a completely different team than the team that dominated Dallas in the West. And, good on Florida for understanding what it takes and having the depth. But I mean, I think similar to what you're going to talk about with the Pacers OKC series, I mean, at this point, the way I'm looking at it is pressure is still on Edmonton, but I fully expect Florida to wrap this up.
So in game 5, Edmonton had about 85 penalty minutes, and you're not going to win a lot of games that way. And it's hard to say that the game is over or a series is over, because look at game 4. Like, they were down 3-0 and ended up winning that game 5-4. So,
but here's the thing with game 4, though, and this is what annoyed me. To score 4 straight and get up on the lead, and with 30 seconds to play, and granted, Florida had pulled Bob. They had the extra attacker on. Tired guys on the ice, but when you're up one goal, less than 30 left to play, man, knowing that you could definitively tie the series in regulation, it was just sloppy defensive play in their own zone. And I think that's where they've been kind of caught off guard. The one goal that Sam Reinhart scored in the first period tonight, it was a sloppy clear that led to this opportunity. They barely even got it out of their own zone. And look, I'll give Florida credit for tying it up with 20 or 19 seconds left, but it was just very, very sloppy play that led to that opportunity. It should have been an easy kill, should have been a couple easy clears and gone from there. But thankfully, Leon Draisaitl was able to notch one in overtime to tie it up. And to your point, when you can't stay out of the box in game 5, it's not going to go your way. But I think that all goes back to control, right? And it starts with coaching. If you're setting the right tone, they should be listening. You make your in-game adjustments, which is what Knoblauch did, to get them to score the 4 straight. But I think a lot of it is on the players. Like, how badly do you want this? You felt what it was like last year to take it 7 and lose a very close game 7. Like, you'd think that in the minds of Draisaitl and Evander Kane and Corey Perry and Connor McDavid would absolutely be fueling them. And honestly, when you look at those top 4 guys, with the exception of Leon Draisaitl, McDavid has made it happen every now and then, but it hasn't certainly been consistent or in depth. I mean, Corey Perry has played some decent games here and there. Evander Kane has been basically a ghost, and we understand. And Zach Hyman missing is a large piece of that offense, but I would think that there'd be more guys picking up the slack that we're seeing in Florida on the other end. And most notably, Brad Marchand is playing like he's got a second wind of his entire career. I think he can play another, 10 years the way he's looked in these playoffs.
To your credit, before the series started, you pointed out that the Oilers, I mean, outside of Draisaitl and McDavid not having to do everything, but Stuart Skinner is going to have to show up, and he's been up and down all playoffs, and like, he got pulled in game 5, right? I mean, like,
he got pulled in game 4. Halfway, I think after the third goal was given up, it got pulled in game 4, and then I believe 5 too. So for game 5 and even tonight, I mean, there's been goalie talk, and which is not something you want in the final. I mean, you've made it this far, you want to be able to stay consistent. I think it's not completely on goaltending, because there is sloppy defensive play in front, a lot of turnovers too, like just egregious errors. But I do think there is something to, it's less about not trusting your goaltending and more about trying to make the adjustment to see who gets hot against the Panthers. And I just don't think they found the rhythm, right? They're just they're a gritty team that takes the shots, they generate offense, and they have 4 lines that they roll that can put the puck in the back of the net, which is the huge difference. And look, if there's any takeaway, and especially as we look that the series rounds out in terms of who's going to be the MVP of this series, I mean, you can throw Brad Marchand up there, but honestly, I think it does come down to just goaltending. Like Sergei Bobrovsky, the deeper he's gotten into these playoffs, the better he has played. I mean, when you look at series 1 against Toronto, it was a true back and forth to the point where we thought that Toronto was going to close it out, but in the end, it ended up being Florida, who then really went on, or actually that was round 2, but first round was against Tampa Bay. But like, the further he's gotten in, I mean, sorry to bring this up, but you look at him against the Hurricane series, and he was just completely shut down. And going into this, I mean, yeah, I would say the goals he's let in are, with the exception of that deflection, are nasty goals. Other than that, you can still put up a highlight reel of the losses that Florida has had in this series, of the saves that he is making. So he is single-handedly, even on the games that Florida loses, still keeping it close for them. And, you figure with the, all of them have been 1 game or 1 goal differentials, essentially.
Now it's 2-0. Matthew Tkachuk just scored, so not looking good for the Whalers. Not looking good at all.
Good night.
Yeah, call it a night. Sorry, Canada. that streak is going to be extended to 33 years now. So it's got to infuriate citizens of Canada to watch not only the streak continue, but a hockey team from Florida is show. You know what I mean? Are you kidding me? The nutsack of America, literally where we send our worst people is Florida, where where they eat people on a bridge. That's who is keeping you guys from winning hockey titles. You guys invented hockey. What's happening? You let Florida do it? It's crazy. We're going to get Grand Theft Auto 6 before we get Canada winning a Stanley Cup. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable times. Canadians have healthcare. They'll be okay. That's true. That is true. NBA Finals, I think Friday, the Thunder somehow might have figured out what Indiana Pacers are doing. They won again. And listen, it sucks I really feel bad for the Pacers. They clawed back and did what they had to do to come back in the game, and then they completely imploded at the last minute. And then on top of it, it wasn't that the Thunder were all that great. They had one guy, Jalen Williams, scored 40 points in a game. This guy's a role player, and when you have players like that who step up and have big games like this, and that's why the Thunder are one win away from a title. And I think the key for this game, as I was watching, is the Thunder have outscored the Pacers 32 points to 9 points off of turnovers. You can't turn the ball over, period. You can't. Turnovers will kill you in any sport, really. And the interesting part of that stat is I read that it's the most points off turnovers that the Pacers have allowed all season. So in a vacuum, is that an outlier? Is that something that you can look towards in Game 6 and figure, hey, is this going to be a thing? Now, Game 6 is back in Indiana. NBA does the 2-2-1-1-1 format. The Thunder, if there is a Game 7, it will be back in Oklahoma City. So, but the bad news is Tyrese Haliburton now has some sort of hamstring or calf injury. That's not good. And it's like, if you're Tyrese Haliburton, I don't know if this injury is just one of those things that they're throwing out there, but like, you were voted the most overrated player, and having performances like that is not going to beat those allegations. After like all these incredible things you've done in the playoffs this year, you're going to wait until the finals to shit the bed, because it isn't just one game. It's mostly been most of the games. You can't have 0 points and have 0% field goal percentage and only have one rebound in the finals. And so if Indiana's going to have to, no pun intended, pace themselves, like, or they're gonna pace themselves onto a boat to Cancun if they don't figure it out, because it's like, what's his Nimhard, the guy that everybody's praising because he's been hitting big shots. He's having like these turnovers, and this is what happens when you have guys, who aren't used to having these big moments. Now you're relying on them because the guy who's supposed to be your superstar is dealing with a calf injury all of a sudden, or just isn't straight up showing up. Like, it's the finals, dog. You better shoot some horse tranquilizers in that leg and go out there and get it done. Like, I don't want to hear
in there and get back out there.
I don't want to hear about calf injuries, man. Like, I don't. And this I'm trying to make it seem like this is only happening because the Pacers' incompetence. I'm not. It's the Thunder have been playing great. SGA, he's the MVP for a reason. I think he's been averaging like 30 something points per game in the series, and it's been quiet. Like, if that's such thing, the Pacers have played good defense on them, and they have good players. Sam Presti should be the GM of the decade. Like, this team is young. I think they're a year or two ahead of schedule. They have 1 million draft picks. So, like, they'll pay SGA, and they still have Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams on really good deals. And they'll be able to figure that out because they have a bunch of draft picks that they'll be able to use to keep these guys together. But the Pacers better figure out a way. Pascal Siakam, you were brought here. You're the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. You were brought here to be a steady force. And yes, you're averaging 20 points per game, but your job as the second fiddle on that team is to step up when the star or the alpha is not having a good game, or if he's hurt. And he's just been pedestrian. So I think when we first did our initial finals and Stanley Cup, like before Game 1 started, keys to the series, I said, is the Pacers' athleticism going to be able to penetrate the Thunder's defense? And it looks like the Thunder are starting to figure it out because, the Pacers can't. I mean, as resilient as they've been, and again, I feel bad because they fought tooth and nail to get back into that game, but you can't implode. Like the coach is taking you out a minute and a half with left in the game. You're down by 8 points. Like I don't know. I don't know if they're tired. I don't know what it is, but you would suck it up. It's the finals. Like I just don't want to. I don't want to see that effort. I want it there, that lack of effort, I should say, from a team that's trying to win their first championship.
Yeah, especially one that's been so placed in the underdog position. Where I mean, we think about the competition and the teams that they went through. Like, I would find it. I mean, OKC having the chance to return to this stage again if they were down in the series, it's tough for me to think about the Pacers being in the same position next year, or at least being as competitive.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, the Thunder have a way better chance of coming back next year for the reasons I said. But you're right. Like the Pacers came out of nowhere. And you have like the Magic, right? Made that big trade for Desmond Bane. And a lot of people are going to say, wow, they gave up a lot. Well, if you look at the numbers, Desmond Bane is probably one of the best shooters in the league. If you're going to get into the weeds, he literally fits several of the needs that the Magic needed throughout the season. The Magic were a 7th seed, and they had like all 5 of their players out for extended periods of time with serious injuries, and they still managed to recoup and end up the 7th seed. Don't be shocked if the Magic end up a top 3 seed next year. And then obviously, so that's the Magic. Then you have the Celtics, who are going to be the Celtics, the Knicks, the Cavs, who are already there. They're going to be competitive. And listen, I'll be biased, but the Sixers dealt with a lot this season. I can't imagine that those circumstances will play themselves out again. But then you'll have the Sixers in there. So like the Pacers, can they? Obviously, right? They're there now, but it is a lot harder for me to visualize the Pacers coming back than it is the Thunder. The Thunder are going to be the same team, and obviously it doesn't matter. They were the best team all year from game 1 to the game 6 of the finals. They've been the best team consistently, and they're going to continue to be that. So I agree with you about the Pacers having better figure it out, now, or else it's like it's literally now or never,
because you're likely not coming back. Yeah,
it's literally now or never. All right, Bert, let's go around the league or around the world of sports. Angel Reese. First off, shout out to Caitlin Clark, who came back from injury, beat the undefeated New York Liberty, and had one of the greatest games I've ever seen by a basketball player, not a women's basketball player, a basketball player. Well, Angel Reese had reason to celebrate. She recorded her first triple-double. Congratulations. But that's not the news, Bert. The news is, a lot of the narrative is that she collects a lot of her own rebounds. And of course, you get the nerds and the stat people that go out and say, well, actually, she doesn't collect. If she didn't have her own rebounds, she would still lead the league in rebounds. Okay, nobody said she was a bad rebounder, but let's be real. 35% of her rebounds come from her own missed shots. That's a big number. And it's even bigger in context when you find out that she only shoots 31% from the field, and 85% of her shots come from within 8 feet of the basket. So it's like, it's not good. Listen, it's not good. And offensive, I'm never going to say offensive rebounds are bad. Obviously, you give your team a second chance to score points. That's always good. She's a great rebounder. She's a role player. And I think people should appreciate and be happy about that. But like, they needed this nonsense that she's like this great elite player needs to stop. Like, it just, I'm sick of it. And it's like, it's not a race thing, like, because a lot of people are bringing race into it. She's an asshole. She acts like a jerk. Like, nobody likes that. People don't like. They will tolerate it from people that they tolerated it from Kobe, because he's Kobe. You know what I mean? They tolerate it from Draymond Green, and they tolerate it from great players because they're great. Like, she's okay, man. And so anyway, she filed for a trademark for the rebound term "me bounds." Famously by B-Hen of the 520 podcast. That's Jeff Teague and a bunch of ex-NBA players. They make fun of Angel Reese a lot, but they kept calling him me bounds because they showed a clip and multiple clips of her missing about 5 or 6 putbacks and getting her own rebounds. Well, now and they've been calling her that for a while now. And of course, social media finally takes it, and she trademarks it, or tries to trademark it, or she has an application for a trademark. threw me off because I don't know if you can trademark things you didn't create, but apparently you can. And so she's trading it, and she went on and said, "Oh, look at y'all think y'all trolling me. I like it, y'all creative." I believe she believes she's being clever with this, and she claims she loves the trolling, and I'll give her credit because at least she's trying on this one. But it's hilarious because she says you can't make it up. You know, this league is nuts. The fans, I love the trolling, and all the fans have the good ideas. But to capitalize on in her mind, haters' creativity by filing a trademark for the same me bounds, isn't it like she's trademarking a term that's making fun of her? So the only way that it's profitable for her if she continues to miss shots and get her own rebounds. No, like I think it's clever. I think it's smart that she's doing it.
Yeah.
I'm just like, it's just another thing of you want to love Angel Reese, but then she's focused on the wrong. Like to me, she's continuously always focused on the wrong thing. Stop worrying about what we're talking about. Stop worrying about what we're saying and what people think about you, and start getting better at basketball. Because like this rivalry that you have is slipping away, and it's like, and I feel like she knows this.
Dude, it's no more. There is no more rivalry. There should be no more comparison, and she should focus on. And I think this might be a step in the right direction to focus on the things that she is known for. One of them being rebounds, right? So, I like the fact that she's leaning into it. I really do. I get your point that, well, in order for this to continuously be successful, even after she trademarks it and she wants to make some scratch from it, she would still have to do what she's doing. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. But even if she does grow as a player and continue to be that star or, role playing type role, I think honestly, this has nothing but upside. If she trademarks it and, individuals dog her for the me bounds, she's still selling merchandise for people to troll her with it. Or if she's good at it, everybody who's a fan of the, Sky is going to love the me bounds. It doesn't matter as long as it puts points on the board, right? It's not illegal. It just hurts her own individual stats when she's being compared to the greats, but nevertheless, she's getting paid the same. And if not, maybe even a little bit more. So I can't hate this. At least it's not defensive banter coming back and, complaints or anything. She's just leaning into it 100%. Now, I'm in your camp of like, I didn't know you can trademark things that maybe you didn't even think of, but maybe you can. And if that's the case, then great for her. But I think this might be a pivot in the direction of being like, hey, obviously there's no more comparison. I am not at that same level. So I'm going to focus on what I am good at. And even if I'm still dogged and trolled for that, then, oh, well, at least I'm making money from it.
It's funny. She'll take the idea from fans trying to make more money, but won't listen to fans when we tell her to work on her layups. Like, it's like, now when I first read it, I was like, this has to be like The Onion, right? Like, it's satire. And it's real. And the one thing I know that we're going to get is I love how we just take the term and attach hate to it, to everything. Like, everything's hating. We didn't, and criticism is hate now. Like, no, it's just criticism. Her actions really from when she got hurt, when they were in the playoffs contention, they didn't end up making it, but she starts a podcast when they're in like trying to get into the playoffs. And I'm like, and I criticized that then, like, hey, aren't you like, isn't your team trying to make the playoffs right now? And you started a podcast, like you're a rookie. Like, that's something you do when you're like 10 years in, or, a couple years in, or you have some immediate success. And, I think it's just another piece of evidence that she wants to be a celebrity more than she wants to be the face of the WNBA or a leader of her team. And she puts more energy and effort into like her outfits and her TikToks than she does her hoop game. And it's like, people are going to support her because they feel like they have to. And I think those things, whether she was white, black, purple, or red, like how she carries herself, I think should garner a level of criticism that shouldn't be attached to anything else other than her own actions. Like, it's like, this is weird. It's weird she's doing it. And I'm not knocking the hustle. Like, she's taking something, she's trying to depower the fans, but I don't know, man. Like, how about you just not pay attention to it? Like, how about you just try to be the best player you can be? Your job is to be in the NBA, and her actions, the things she says, how she kind of decides to absorb these things makes me feel like basketball is secondary to her. And which ironically is going to bring on more criticism. The criticism she says she doesn't listen to, by the way, but which obviously she does, because now she's trademarking something that is a point of criticism to her.
I think athletes, younger athletes and athletes in certain sports, I think they do need to attach some type of notoriety, celebrity status to their own personal brand nowadays. German, I think this is one thing that we're noticing. I mean, we have our takes of celebrity or ballers, professional athletes back in our day that focus on the sports. You take your Kobe's, your Jordans, your Derek Jeters, who would notoriously talk about putting in the work, getting better at their craft, finding no joy in playing the game unless they're winning. And that's what we're completely used to. Whereas now, because of social media and what it is and how much they can profit off of it, I think 50% of their focus is going to be on that and other business endeavors. Now, if you're successful at your game and your craft, you'd think that the other would certainly follow suit. But if you're riding the average train, I think you're trying to get in, get your money, secure that bag, and then coast. And I'm not saying that she's going to coast from a player standpoint. I just think there's probably an insurmountable pressure, particularly on Angel Reese, and knowing that even the top WNBA contracts still don't scratch the surface. And we've talked about this before and what other sports are making. So I think she's trying to do right by her future. The unfortunate reality is, she's going to face criticism, like you just mentioned, from individuals that are used to the former, those getting better at their craft, for just focusing on the sport. And I agree with you. I think that's the way it should be in season. You're here to play. If you work out deals with Reese's Puffs or anything else, that's great. That's fine. Sign the deal and go from there. And then in the off season, you want to start your podcast, you want to focus on anything you want to do, social media, or if you're you're creating products, you're marketing this, marketing that, that's perfectly fine. I honestly we're probably going to see a pendulum swing in that direction for all sports and all individuals doing it. I'm sure we'll see it with, whether it's like G League players or minor league baseball players, or even guys, in any type of guys or girls in any type of system working up to that professional level. And I think this also stems from, what college is seeing, the shift with NIL too. It's just going to be making money off of your likeness from the time you're in university and college all the way through to if you make it. And if that's the case, then work on your sport. But at the same time, we're going to be seeing individuals balance both. And what we might see sports wise is a product of this, us being fans and being frustrated at the fact that they should be focused on just playing the sport. But man, who am I to fault them for trying to make some money in other avenues too,
100% agree. Hey, shout out to Angel Reese, man. You're trying something. I'm with it. It's just like you're floating dangerously close to desperate. Like, it looks desperate, and it does. So I don't know, man.
And it's in season, it does, right? Like if it was off season, I don't think anybody would blink an eye or even have these comments. But I take that back. Someone's always going to comment, especially in the off season, being like, you should be working on that. But I think we talk about this all the time, especially we talk about this in the NFL season all the time too. You can look back to when OBJ and all the Giants decided to go on that boat trip before their first playoff game in how many years. And guess what happened? They got smacked around. And we pointed to that saying, maybe their minds weren't in the right spot because they're celebrating something that, wasn't even a guarantee or wasn't even a championship. So for us, we're going to comment on that shit if it's in season, but off season, do what you want. You're not in season. I trust that you're going to be training and doing the process, but that's your time to go after these other business, ventures and endeavors. So it's going to garner more criticism when it's in season, and especially early in the season too.
Yeah. It doesn't help that the team's 3-7. It doesn't help that they're just not and it's not her fault. I'm not saying this is on her, but it's just she's making these decisions at the wrong time, and it just makes everything worse than what it is. So anyway, Bert, Noah Lyles and Tyreek Hill were supposed to race today.
Not anymore.
And I'm getting the sense of Noah Lyles realized, oh shit, I could lose this thing.
Yeah.
And I think he's realizing, because everything I'm reading, he's being very, what's the word? He's being very shady with the reasoning. He's
dodging it.
He's ducking, right? Like it's like there's a like it's not. And Tyreek Hill basically went on to say as much. Like somebody's ducking somebody, and it ain't me. Like you know what I mean? Without trying to ruin this kid. And me and you talked about this. Like this kid's going on there talking about, oh, they're not real world champions. I race the world. Da da da. Da. And I'm like, you run track, bro. Like enough. Like you won a couple medals. You run. You're fast. I get it. Like
Jesus.
You know what I mean? But like you run track. Like let's stop. Let's stop. Let's, like,
competition nonetheless against the world.
That's like the high school. That's like the high school chess champion talking shit to the high school quarterback who's won state championships.
Hey man, if I'm in the Little League World Series facing teams from other countries, technically, and I win, I'm a world champion. I don't know if the Dolphins can stay the same, you know?
Well, the Dolphins can say the same because there's only one professional football league, whereas there's multiple professional baseball leagues
so all around the world. You know, that's
all, but we said the same thing with the NBA. All the best players from the world come to the NFL. I mean, we got rugby players in the NFL. You know what I mean? There's nowhere else to go. NBA, there's FIBA, there's EuroLeague, but the best players in the league right now are not even from America. They're from the world. And the NBA is by far it's not like soccer. Like I can understand this if they were soccer players. There's like 17 different leagues in soccer. Boxing is the same thing. They need to have just one boxing league. Like there needs to be all these different leagues and organizations and federations and different belts and shit. They need to just have one. I think Dana White's going to fix that here pretty soon, but there needs to be one. Noah Lyles knows all he has is running. And if he lets Tyreek Hill beat him, all that smiling, goofy shit he's been talking about, that cult he keeps promoting, like it makes the sense why he's so fucking weird, and that's over with. Like the Wheaties boxes, all the pub, all the stuff. Yeah, you can go beat the dudes from Taiwan, but you didn't beat Tyreek Hill. Like nobody cares now. Like it's over. I think that's starting to settle in. That maybe he doesn't think he'll lose outright, but he's like, oh shit. If I lose, I have a lot more to lose. Because if Tyreek Hill loses, he doesn't lose anything. He lost to a gold medal runner. But if
it's close, it's losing.
Oh no, Noah Lyles has to blow Tyreek Hill out. Pause.
Yeah,
he has to blow him out of the water. And I think he knows or is realizing I can't do that, and it's going to be a thing. What just happened with that other doofy idiot that dumps his face in water, and he raced the other TikTok loser, the famous people that are.
I know who you're talking about. I just don't know their names. Yeah,
I don't know their. We're not of that. We're not
close
of that.
To 40 here.
Yeah, we're like Joe Flacco. We're adults. We don't do that weird TikTok dancing. You weirdo dancing men with painting your nails and shit. Yeah, I stand with Joe. Joe Flacco for president, man. He's talking the things that I need to hear.
I think the world loved the idea of the race. I don't think it was set up the right way. I think if it was done a little bit more in like more joking manner, and I understand there's bragging rights to it, but if they threw out, it would benefit this and it'll do that, and we're going to raise money for this, and we're going to have fun with it, that's fine. I do think in the way Noah Lyles backed out of it too, very 11th hour, very much shady and dodging everything about it. It doesn't bode well. It's almost like his camp continuously begged him to please stop doing this shit until finally they showed him today, here's what you truly do stand to lose. And he's like, oh shit, I should just not do this. Or alternatively, like maybe he's nursing some type of injury or doesn't want to get injured. I get that. If he's got stuff coming up too, it doesn't look great by any means, but yeah. I mean, the winner in this is Tyreek Hill. So,
yeah, shout out to him. And he needs a win lately after the last couple of months he's had. Speaking of wide receivers who need a win, Antonio Brown. You see Antonio Brown wanted for murder? Jeez, now he's in Dubai hiding from the law. It's like what's happening? Antonio Brown linked to a 2020 shooting, I guess, where somebody was killed and supposedly he pulled the trigger. It was like a dispute over something or another. I don't know, man. These players with this CTE and these weird behaviors, and we just let him do it because it's Antonio Brown, and he leaked a couple things on his CTE ESPN account, which I love. I love CTE ESPN. It's great, but like killing people or shooting people or causing anybody harm. I don't care. Like this guy is, you leave these people unchecked, man. And it's sad. It's sad to see the trajectory of one of the greatest. And this is all alleged. We don't know what's what.
Correct.
But
I mean, if we're looking, I mean, it's so quick to judge given the behaviors, the erratic behaviors, and everything else. I'll be honest with you, when I saw it, not surprised.
Right.
Which sucks to say, but like, he's been doing this shit on CT, ESPN, and through X and Twitter. And, when you look back to his shenanigans with Oakland too, recording, Gruden and putting it out there, and then like how he ended up leaving Tampa Bay too, and just, in the middle of a fucking game, and then everything that he's done afterwards to talk shit on the likes of Tom Brady and everything else. It's, it doesn't bode well. Like it's tough to find people in his camp after this news broke being like, oh yeah, he's probably innocent. Like that's what you're going to find.
Antonio Brown is wanted by police on an attempted murder charge in Miami-Dade County for shooting at a celebrity boxing event last month. I'm thinking it's 2020, 2025. Like this is recent. Brown allegedly punched a man at the celebrity boxing event, grabbed a security guard's gun, fired 2 shots, ran towards the man, grazing his neck. The incident reportedly occurred just after midnight on May 16th in the Little Haiti neighborhood of Miami, and Brown had initially been detained by police and released hours later. Now there's a warrant for his arrest. They want Brown to post a $10,000 bond and remain under house arrest until they figure it out. But now he's in Dubai. Apparently the lawyers have been talking to the law. They know he's in Dubai. Police said we're not going to send anybody over there after him. I got to imagine that Gavin Newsom had something to do with this after Antonio Brown said that he was going to have sex with his wife, or that he had sex with his wife. So I'm assuming that Florida and Miami is not playing. They want this guy. So we'll see what happens, man. Shout out Antonio Brown, man. Like, do what you got to do. But I mean, attempted murder, man. Hey,
it's only a matter of time. He's not going to stay out there forever. It is what it is. And honestly, the more they look into this and investigate this, if they do find anything that is like truly put away, they'll send someone to get him.
Yeah, I got to imagine. they're gonna figure out a way to go get his ass. But I don't know. Is there anything else you got?
Jerm, knock knock.
Who's there?
Not the Yankees offense. That's for sure.
Yeah. That's
They're
right
now 28 innings scoreless. The last time they scored a run was 28 innings ago. And by the end of the game yesterday, it was 20 scoreless innings. That includes going 1 for 18 with runners in scoring position. Aaron Judge over the weekend went 1 for 12 against Boston. The one he did hit was a fucking monster over the green monster. But look, I'm not going to hit the panic button just yet. Talk to me tomorrow night, especially because we got the likes of Giancarlo Stanton back. But what really annoys me is our pitching has been doing decent. I cannot for the life of me understand when one slumps, everybody slumps. And this is what you have to appreciate about your New York Mets is if one of them is in the slump, like we saw Soto be the start of the season and on and off for the first couple of months, you had the likes of Pete Alonso consistently, but with the Yankees, for some reason, man, when the big bats are cold, everybody's cold. And this is the type of shit as whether it's a Yankee fan or whatever team you're, if your team goes through the same thing, you just sit there and think like, what the fuck's going on in that clubhouse? What's going on with the hitting coaches? What are they not seeing? I mean, it's one thing I get having a bad series, getting swept by Boston, but when we're carrying this in and losing to the Angels at home, it's so frustrating to watch. So look, I'm not hitting the panic button yet. What annoys me is when Boston swept us, the Rays smacked around your Mets and closed the gap. Well, after last night's loss to the Angels, but closed the gap essentially to, 2.5 games. And we could see at the end of this week, a new leader in the AL. So we'll see what happens.
The good news is Yankees are still number one in the AL East
for now.
The Mets are still number one in the NL East. The Mets, yes, we're the best. Coming into the Rays series, we were the best home team in MLB, not just the NL, the entire league. I think we were 27-7 or something like that. Then the Rays mopped the floor with us, scoring 24, outscoring us 24-9, sweeping us. Not good. But at the end of the day, we're going to lose series. And I mean, the Rays aren't a bad team. So
I mean, look, you lost 3 games. The good thing is if you make it to a World Series, you need to lose 4, in order to not get it. So, I mean, there's always going to be a swing in momentum too. And we're teams are going to get swept. I think
we didn't get swept by the Rockies, I guess would be my overarching.
That's
you know what I'm saying? Like we got I think the Rays are second, right? Like in terms of so it's not, we lost to a 40-win team, like a good MLB team.
What they weren't sub 500, like this it is what it is.
It happens. Shit happens.
And you build off that too. But man, I'll be honest with you, after watching the series this weekend and now 28 scoreless innings for the Yankees. It's one of those where it's a head shaker. He's like, really nothing, no offense whatsoever. But hey, baseball, right?
We're dangerously close to, there's still a lot of baseball left to play territory. Like
I give it till usually mid-July is when I'm like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like we're getting close to like, that's got to stop. And so little slumps like that, like Juan Soto kind of starting to warm up a little bit. I get the frustration, but the Mets, you dropped a series to the Rays. But think about our next series here. We got the series with the Braves, and then we start a series with the Phillies, and then we get the Braves again. You could build a nice lead in that NL East.
Then you get the Yankees through the 4th holiday,
So hey, we'll be just fine. We'll be just fine. Bert, do you have a game ball you want to give out?
Yeah, I do. Bittersweet. As a Ranger fan, for the past 13 years, I've watched Chris Kreider be homegrown by the organization, sign right out of college, just make an absolute impact, virtually climb to the leaderboard of every single Ranger stat possible. If not number 1, definitely within the top 3 or 5. The unfortunate reality is he had a down season last year, and he's was, in the eyes of management, worth less than what his guaranteed contract was paying him, and he waived his no move clause to be open to being traded and was traded over to Anaheim. So, my game ball goes to Chris Kreider for the last 13 years for always putting it out there with the Rangers organization, wishing him the best of luck, with the Ducks. And, definitely going to sting a little bit seeing him in a different jersey next year. But, I got to look back to everything he's done for the organization.
My game ball is going to a young lady named Lauren Philpott, who is honoring a bet with her husband made back in the 22-23 NFL season. She is a Giants fan. Her husband is an Eagles fan, and she lost the bet, and she had to get a sexy photo of Jason Kelce. And so on her arm is a nude Jason Kelce with an eagle as his dick. And I think it's awesome. That's on her. That's on her body. It's a tattoo on her for the rest of the life. Jesus. A nude Jason Kelce, Lauren Philpott, PHILPOT. You guys can. I was trying to look.
I think he commented on it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he did. I was trying to see what the actual bet was. It just said honored a bet from her husband. So we don't know if it was a Giants Eagles bet or what the bet was, but he commented on it. Eagles fans are nuts. He said, I'm not sure if I should be offended or flattered. It's amazing. Like that's it. It's art. So shout out to her.
It's art.
Cannot find it's art. Yeah, it's art, man. Listen. It doesn't say what the bet was, but anyway, shout out to her, shout out to her husband, shout out to Jason Kelce, I guess. It's to be part of something like that is actually pretty funny. Thank you for joining us, whoever commented, whoever shared, liked, to subscribe. Appreciate everybody for checking in with us. Please follow us at Stuff About Sports on the Instagram, at Give Us a Shot Network on Instagram, on Facebook and YouTube. And please don't forget to visit our website, www.giveusashot.network. Me and Bert will be back here next week talking about Stanley Cup champions and NBA champions and whatever else pops up, whatever other trademarks Angel Reese has for us. We'll see. Maybe she can go from me bounds to me can't shoot within the basket.